I want to talk real quick about what a step parent adoption is. So, for us, whenever it had been about, I think, 4 months since my ex husband had any communication trying to visit with our children, we were able to file for a step parent adoption because I had married my current husband, Canyon, and he did not have any rights to the children that I had with my ex-husband because he couldn't get the rights until the rights were taken from my ex-husband. So because of shaken baby syndrome, custody had already been given fully to me, but the rights had never been fully cut off from him. So after about 4 months of him not trying to make an attempt to see the children, we were allowed to file a petition for a step parent adoption because my current husband, Canyon, had been taking care of them every single day. We had a medically complex child who he was the caregiver for her daily. And so we wanted him to be able to have rights to them, especially her when she goes back and forth to the hospital and things. So we met with an attorney who was able to file that. And, the process took, I think, about a year. So from start to finish, it took about a year, which was agonizing. But because we were able to prove that he had not made an attempt to try to visit with them through text messages, and other communications. And also in our specific scenario, our previous court ruling for the shaken baby syndrome that took custody from my ex-husband, he was given the option to show up to drug and alcohol classes, anger management classes, counseling, and follow their recommendations of medications and stuff like that he needed. And then if he could file a petition with the court to possibly get custody back. So they gave him that option at that first court hearing back in 2017. And so that helped us with the step parent adoption because it showed the judge that he was not making an effort. He did not make an effort to go back and file that petition to get custody. And at that time, from 2017 until 2020, he had not even tried to get custody back. So the judge saw that as you're not trying, you're not doing X, Y, and Z to be able to see your children. You're not, you could have easily done that. And the judge was like, if that was my kids, I would have been showing up constantly at the courthouse trying to get custody back, trying to petition to get custody back. And, it doesn't make sense. Why are you even here fighting for rights if you wouldn't even do any of that? So, long story short, the judge ended up siding with us because we could prove, 3 different things. It had nothing to do with shaken baby syndrome, even though that was originally why custody was taken. But we were able to prove those things. We didn't even have to bring in the shaken baby syndrome stuff. And because of that, the judge was like, okay, you haven't seen them in 4 months. And actually at that time, he hadn't even seen them in about a year. And so, because throughout the time that we were in court, I'm trying to give you a good timeline. I filed the petition when it had been 4 months since he had made an attempt to see the children. By the time that we got a court, ruling, it had been a full year since he had attempted to see the children because it took so long through court. But there was nothing stopping him that entire time from setting up a visit other than pride, I guess. So for an entire year during court, he didn't even try to set up a visit. And we were going through a third party place to do visits, so he could have done that anytime, and he did make an effort to do it. So the judge took that into account, and in the end, he said, you really haven't made the effort. You've had every option to make an effort to try to see your children, and you haven't done that. So we are going to take your rights and give them to the person who has been there every day with their children. And so the court really does not want children to just not have a parent, to not have rights given to someone. So I wouldn't have been able to file that petition if I wasn't remarried, which is very unfair, I think. If I had not been remarried, I couldn't have done that. That doesn't feel fair to me. But thankfully, I had been married before all of this came about, and we were able to do the step parent adoption.